Hey Nico, good afternoon.
You can hear me.
Today, Commissioner, thank you for joining us. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear
All
you
right,
loud and
just
clear.
waiting for Daphne and the others to attend, and we can get started.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Are you on Guam?
Yes. I'm on
Okay,
island.
okay.
Just a bit stranded in the office.
No worries. You probably just got back too, right? Thanks for
I
joining.
did yesterday. Yeah, thank you.
I think what we're gonna have to do is just submit this after.
Yeah, this one? Yeah. As long as we could discuss
Yeah.
it publicly, that's,
Sure.
that's all it really takes.
It doesn't matter where you sit, does it?
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna come sit over there by you.
Oh, yeah.
The AC's just dropping on.
You want this from Elma?
No, you can sit there. I can sit on there. Still wanna be cool now.
Oh, it's still period after that.
Councilor Knight? I can do, you call it.
Alright, we will call this regular meeting for the Guam Ethics Commission to order at 12:31 p.m. I will pass this to Nico to conduct the attendance roll call.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For those watching, this meeting was advertised with the PDN as well as the Guam portal, notices portal, on December 5th and December 11th, in accordance with open government law. So to begin, let's have our chairwoman, Ms. Daphne Leonguero.
Present.
Thank you. Our vice chairman, Mr. Dr. Robert Jack. Commissioner Meg Tekinko.
Present.
And then, Madam Chair, I believe online attending is Commissioner Christopher Cruz.
Present.
Thank you. Madam Chair, with the 4 commissioners present, we do have a quorum.
Alright, great, thank you so much, Vicky. Then we will move on to the approval of our meeting minutes. Our last regular meeting was July 25th, 2025, and then we also had an informational briefing on October 24th, 2025. So we'll give everyone a few minutes to review these meeting minutes in your packet. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for both July 25th, 2025 and October 24th, 2025?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries, and the meeting minutes are approved. Now I will pass this back to our executive director for his report.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and for those tuning in or watching online and present here. Our last official meeting with the quorum was July 25th. However, we did have a meeting on October 24th. Because we lacked a quorum, the chairwoman and I found that it was necessary to at least update the community and the public on some of the happenings going on with the commission. And so for today, there are some recaps that we discussed, but since I have all the commissioners present, I am very happy to report that we have fully staffed our team since being appointed in, I believe, June of this year. I would like to introduce 2 of our ethics program coordinators, Ms. Kristen James here, Ms. Chelsea Anderson, and our administrative assistant who just joined us last month, Ms. Vanessa Camacho. So we were very excited because now we can actually get the ball rolling on a lot of things. As much as I love working by myself, I think having a team is important to serve the community.
We didn't want you working by yourself.
So just some quick updates for everyone, and you can stop me if you have any questions. But as far as the day-to-day operations go, everything is still moving smoothly. We are looking at doing a lot of changes. As the commissioners know, when you appointed me, there were a lot of big changes that we had to go through in order to kind of level us up to where we take it. And so all the ethics and government training programs are still currently online. Here's a little breakdown for everybody. We are averaging about 100 people per month. And as of October 1, the waiver of the ethics training fee, which was $80 passed by this body a couple years back, has expired. And so today, I know it's further in the agenda, but just something to look at for our discussion. Here's a little breakdown of all the different trainings per month. as well as kind of a compliance report. Everything from all the different government agencies are due to the Ethics Commission on the compliance training by October 30. As of today, we only have about 25% of those reports. So Kristen is working on tracking down all the different agencies just to make sure we can assist with their compliance reports. So we're slowly getting the ball rolling on having them come back to 100% compliance. As far as complaints and investigations, we are still fielding both formal and informal complaints, preparing cases that are now with a few cases with legal counsel. And I'll present to this board once they have been reviewed and ready for our discussion. For advisory opinions, same thing as well. We do have the community calling in, requesting for different advisory opinions, so we are drafting those up and giving them guidance on how to or when to approach the Ethics Commission. And so this is something that revamping our overall training, I think, should cover. And one of the things I noticed in our current training is that we don't really teach the community when to engage us. And so having a separate module on just our role, I think would help people, increase the awareness, which is what we're looking for. Just some outreach from the last time. We did attend a certificate ceremony with the PA 405 Leadership and Ethics course at the University of Guam. This is a long-standing partnership with Dr. Judy Guthers. And there are about 18 students that have successfully completed our training, as well as the Ethics in Government course. And so, as an added value incentive to those students, we attended, kind of gave them a briefing of our role again. But more importantly for them is this was another requirement if you were to enter the government of Guam that these students have already accomplished. So, when they asked me the importance of it, I said, hey, this is another checklist that you don't have to do, and you could be potentially employed by a government agency. So it's a great program, and I had a really long discussion with Dr. Guthers, and I'll be happy to report on that with the commissioners. But we are looking at exploring new partnerships with the university in more specialized trainings when it comes to ethics in HR, ethics in accounting, ethics in procurement. So there is an appetite on both ends to strengthen our relationship, as well as even facility usage and things like that. So I may be presenting or forthcoming some type of memorandum of agreement between the university and ourselves. And there's a huge appetite for that, so we look forward to strengthening that. On some legislative and some policy developments, as you all know, we are working to reform the entire Ethics Commission law and the Code of Ethics for Guam, which is Title 4 GCA Chapter 15. Right now, our legal counsel has advised that I was supposed to have some draft from them in November, but because the law, the references to the other things are very intricate, they've asked for a little more time. And so now they've given me a window of the second week of January. So I should have an update to the commissioners in our regular January meeting on what that legislation means then. A good example though is that the Hawaii Chapter 84 is something that we're looking to mirror. The Hawaii Ethics Commission has done a great job in the past couple of years on really beefing up their Ethics Commission's jurisdiction as well as enforcement, and I think that's what this commission is looking to mirror. So, also, a bill was introduced at the meeting in October, Bill 214-38, and this is relative to strengthening the independence and the effectiveness of the Guam Ethics Commission. It was introduced by Senator Shanti Tautau and co-sponsored by Senator San Augustine. And there's a little breakdown for the commissioners to see what some of those changes are. We have met with them to discuss, his intentions, our intentions, and we are aligned in our efforts. However, I did mention to the senator that we are working on an overall reformation of this law. So while he is strengthening it, we appreciate his support in this. I do think we can find a stronger partnership in addressing these concerns. Some of the biggest things, just to briefly go over, was the appointment of commissioners. So right now, everybody on the commission is appointed solely by the governor, and then of course confirmed by the legislature. In Bill 214-38, He looks to seek more representation, which of course we agree with the intent, right, from the governor, from the legislature, from the judiciary. He did mention the Chamber of Commerce, Women's Chamber of Commerce, Mayor's Council, and then also the Association of Government Accountants, right, the AGA Guam chapter. So some of these things, are on our radar as well. I think the more that we have better representation on this board, the more unbiased or the more protected we are against some type of political interference. And that is the goal of the Ethics Commission. And I believe Senator Yumasato agrees with that.
I'd like to put one thing in here.
Please.
I think, on the bill 214, that it should include all Chamber of Commerces. Because you have a Chinese Chamber of Commerce and a Korean Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
And I think it should include all.
Unemployment from all.
Yes.
And is this one per
Correct.
organization?
Yeah, so you'll see there's 7 listed in the law.
Right.
So as the law reads today, there was 7 different organizations that was identified. And those would be the ones that.
So then Guam Chambers of Commerce, that includes all chambers of commerce as the next?
I think it should be all Chamber of Commerces. And, and again, it's just that they don't necessarily appoint, it still goes through a review process of some sort, but they should be brought in also.
As long as there's a.
Yes, because they need representation.
Okay.
Absolutely. So then we're still keeping, that there's still keeping Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce separate.
Note of that. And we'll provide testimony once they've requested for us. It has only been introduced right now, so as it moves along the public hearing process and stuff, we'll make sure that the commissioners are well aware of our stance and some of the amendments to this. And then another one is the quorum. So right now, we do have a quorum of 4 for anything administrative that we've been going through, but any type of our current law, any type of complaints, investigations, and decisions would be a majority of 5, right? In his revised bill, any type of decision would need 5 members. Now, these are some of the things that we can work on together. Personally, I do think that a quorum of 4 is actually very helpful, even if you were to do complaints, resolutions, and investigations, only because it can help streamline out of the 7 commissioners. And 4 is already a majority. So the 5 supermajority kind of is a little redundant in that. So these are some of the things we can work on.
Okay, yeah, and 5, when even currently we only have 4 active, it makes it very difficult. So then does this tie our hands further
Right.
from any action?
Right.
So
Which I don't think is the intent.
Right,
So.
I hope not. So,
The other one, some of the other changes from our current law versus this bill is the stipend. It is a $50 stipend per regular meeting, similar to other boards. In Bill 214, I believe it gets rid of the stipend together. So purely voluntary. We can have different discussions on this, but again, the senator is very open to working with the commission on our recommendations with the intent that we are really trying to reorganize ourselves to be free of political interference or pressure, even at the board level. Removal, this is a pretty interesting one. The removal of any commissioners. In the current law, the governor may remove any of the commissioners for cause. In the new bill, it would actually take a vote of 5 or more of the commissioners to remove another commissioner. Again, giving the power back to the commission itself, which I think is a great move and intent of that law.
I think it's just the number, because if
Correct.
we have 5 commissioners and we're trying to remove 1, they're not gonna vote against themselves potentially, right? So that's my only side on that.
Thank you. And then that's well noted as well, because we're trying to streamline the entire process, even the hearings and all of that process. For the hearings and proceedings, in our current law, it is closed to the public. As you all know, whenever cases were brought to this board, we would have to go into closed proceedings. You guys would go into your own deliberation and then make judgment after. In the new law, all these hearings are open to the public, and all records shall be made available. I'm not against this if our mission is public transparency or enhancing trust. I believe being very transparent on how we adjudicate, how we discuss these types of cases I think is very helpful to the community to back what our intentions are here. So. Any other questions on that? We do have a copy of the bill for your perusal inside the front here as well. So. Okay, moving on, if no further questions on that, I did want to bring up the COLO conference that we had foregone this year. Out of abundance of caution, after reviewing some of our travel policies, I noticed that it may be best for us or prudent for us to forego attendance because of a lot of the happenings on the federal side. So due to travel concerns around the federal government shutdown that were impacting flights and air traffic controllers, as well as some inconsistencies that I found in our ethics travel policies, which I wanted to bring to the board today. So I believe the policies were passed in 2023, and one of the things that was pretty glaring to me was that in our policy itself, we are able to reimburse should anything happen, should any flight cancellations or due to weather, etc. The commission could reimburse or pay back anyone traveling for our mission. However, we did have a release authorization form in our policy as well, and that stated that any type of force majeure or anything out of our hands is borne by the employee or the commissioner. So it was kind of negating itself, and I'm working with legal counsel to make sure we align that, only because I believe that if we're all traveling for the commission's business, the commission should bring us home. You know, unless it was, personal negligence, then of course we won't be responsible for that. So there's
But
some
that should be defined, I agree.
correct. Yeah, so there's some inconsistencies there, and so I wanted to clarify that with legal, and then bring an amendment to the board that way. But just so you all know why we opted to do that this morning. So all the fees that we did already pay for the conference, we've reached out with them, and Chelsea, correct me if I'm wrong, they've already applied it to next year's conference, as well as any membership fees. So. And then finally, just a recap of the budget, since we didn't have a quorum back in October. Our appropriation for FY26 was a status quo appropriation of the $552,680 for our operations. However, we were successful in securing that continuing appropriation, that FY25 CA there, of $175,772.30. So total for our operations right now is around $728,452.30. We are still working with DOA to make sure that we have access to that $175,000. And again, using that excess funds for a lot of the new products that we hope to introduce to the community, namely our trust meter, which would be our basis of our success going forward. We also did receive, I believe it was last week, from the Budget Bureau of Management and Research, BDMR. They're requesting for our FY 2027 budget. So they've asked for a due date later this week. However, by law, I would present a budget to the commissioners by January. So in our January meeting, I will give you an FY 2027 budget request that the commissioners can go through with myself and kind of massage out and see, what we can cut or what we can increase, and then we go from there. Thank you, Madam Chair, and that's it for my
All right. Thank you, Dee. Do we have any old business that needs to be discussed? No, so moving on from old business, let's go into new business, beginning with your 6-month evaluation. All right, so we have received your evaluation form. All commissioners have it. It looks like it's the standard form which we have used from previous years. Okay. Is there any discussion around this? Because I believe our normal practice is that we will complete this and then we submit it to you for compilation, and then we also publish the, outcome, right? Okay. So do we want to set some targets or deadlines on when we want to get this done? When we have all of this back in?
Sure, so Madam Chair, before we even get to that, just also satisfy the open government law to go ahead and have an open discussion freely on it before final submission. And I did want to say just a few words on it as you guys are evaluating myself. But the 6 months have flown by very fast. And, you know, this was a very interesting time when I was appointed in June. There was nobody in the office, no staff, no management. And so we've actually come a long way in restaffing, but also in revisiting the operation and seeing those enhancements. So I think it's been a very interesting experience for myself in this process because I had taken the helm right in the middle of budget season. And so, you know, meeting with senators the first week of the job and trying to understand where the commission needed to go, I think it's been an exciting time. We're also looking at reintroducing ourselves with new branding, our approach to the community, strengthening these partnerships through this relationship. I have to say, from experience of talking with everyone, there is a strong desire to strengthen the Ethics Commission, to move away from the smallest government agency or the newest, we're the baby of the government, to really being a watchtower or an empowerment arm for government operations for both private and public employees. So it is an exciting time to kind of keep that momentum.
I agree. And I think, you know, in the spirit of transparency, what we can do is let's go through your goals and we'll have that open discussion. So each of the goals, and then what our commissioners can do is on the performance measures, which is section 2, those are what we complete on our own and then submit later, sections 2 and later. But what we can do is just have an open discussion about the goals, and then you can share your status, and then we can all ask questions and get clarification. Okay. So let's start with the first goal, which is to provide a strategic vision to enhance the commission's mission. If you wanted to provide us with the status of that particular goal.
I kind of labeled it out there or delineated for everyone, just so you understand, but within the first month, you know, I had done a presentation to the commissioners and really spending a lot of time studying what this commission is, how effective it can be, where are some of the gaps that can be filled. And so, if everyone recalls by the July meeting, I presented on the 3 E's of the vision, right? To educate, or to engage, and to empower the community. That would be the 3 E's of ethics. And how do we do that in all the different programs within them? You can kind of see there. First and foremost, in order to do anything and be more effective, we needed to have the backing of a stronger legislation, right? I know the commission, we dismissed a lot of cases before on jurisdictional grounds, and you know, there seems to be a desire for us to move it further, to actually really help the community on empowering them to come forward, work with us so that we can get justice served, right, and the truth will prevail. So in order to do that, I realized that our currency that this commission operates in is trust. And we cannot determine how successful I would be as an executive director or the team would be, or the commissioners, if we didn't have a way to measure that trust. So first and foremost, let's create a baseline, which would be Guam's first trust barometer. Now the beauty of that is we're not reinventing the wheel. There are other research firms globally that actually measure trust, which is great. So we can use that as a model for us and then localize it here so that way the Ethics Commission can produce this result to the community and they can measure by agency, by government branch, how well people trust the decisions that we're making. So I still have that RFP and we'll be launching it either later this month or right into the January time and giving enough agencies, locally and international, an opportunity to bid with us. Did you have a question? No? Okay, keep going. Oh, sorry. But also, we have to rebrand ourselves. We have to come out and rebrand what is that the Ethics Commission is doing. Are we focused on training? Are we focused on cases? or are we kind of focused on overall approach, which I think is very important. So we are about 80% done with our new logos, our letterheads, our rebranding. Once that's done, I've also tasked the team here with social media engagement and making sure that the community can reach out to us through different means, social media, or associating even just a brand and how powerful that becomes. I just had a conversation with the University of Guam, Dr. Judy Gutherds, on more focused and specialized trainings. And there's an appetite for them to, again, get more involved and help us in designing these trainings. And, we don't have to lean just on legal counsel or lawyers or attorneys for our trainings. We can also lean into academia with the university and more specialized field. I think it's great because it only empowers these special fields within the government even more, right? If you have an HR professor at the university listening in on focus groups for HR departments within the government, and us as the Ethics Commission being an independent, unbiased body, taking all those notes and understanding where are some of the gaps that we can train on. That also plays a part of the ethics retreats. And then, of course, I am a big fan of embracing technology. I do think we have a lot of informal calls asking, hey, is this ethical? I wanted to do this. And if we can help the community by having some kind of AI integration, which of course does come with additional resources, so hopefully I can tap into that continuing appropriation of all our unspent funds to kind of fund the pilot of that. And you want me to move on to the next one? Sure.
We have any feedback on that first goal on strategies? Is there anything that, Chris or Dr. Jack, Mike, anything that you wanted to add, or do you think that this is on track?
Oh, just one comment, and that is, I'm curious to learn more about this trust barometer. See exactly how it works, how it's set up.
Sure.
I think it's very interesting.
I think the concept that we were looking at, or at least some of the parameters, was having the community rate our performance on financial responsibility, community accessibility, community programs, engagement, and using that to determine a numeric value that shows our trust number. And one of the things, like I've implemented just within the office, is we won't have an answer machine. I want the community to be able to talk to somebody. Only because I know from experience that a lot of other agencies have an answering machine that you have to go to for it. But in order to create trust within the community, we've had to field calls, and sometimes they spend an hour or two talking with us. And they feel a lot better knowing that somebody's actually there who can kind of guide them through the process. Those are things that I think will play into our overall trust number.
Mike, did you have anything?
I-
All right, for my part, I do think this is a great vision and strategy for the upcoming years. I think that, you just set your goals for 2026. I think they're all outlined right here, so we have something to track toward, right? Because this is all great and good, but what we want to see is the results. So looks like you're on track at least for the first two items, and I have seen your ideas on the rebuild and the rebrand. So we definitely are on track with this. You've provided us your strategic vision, and I think, we're just excited to see the outcome and the results.
I will add that the whole idea of a retreat is not a fun retreat. It is, the Hawaii Ethics Department, it's Hawaii's ethics. It's learning from like Kogel, learning from others and enhancing what we do. It's not
It's like a focus group almost,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not a retreat per se,
Right.
relaxing.
Not a R&R
Yeah,
retreat.
just want to make sure that that's clear.
Sure.
The word retreat sometimes.
Actually, what we wanted to do was pull these different departments out of their office and kind of bring them here so they're a little more disarmed and open to discussion.
Great. Nothing further from me, so let's move on to the next goal.
Sure.
ensuring that the commission has sufficient resources to carry out its statutory and operational requirements.
So, this one is already said and done. I remember when I first started, we were right in the middle of budget season, and I was trying to sit down with some of the senators to understand, but because of those meetings with senators and gaining the support with that vision, I was able to secure not just the continuing appropriation on top of it, but as well as the status quo. So because of that, the commission technically has the most resources in a single year since it kicked off back in 2019, which I think is a great start if we're ready to introduce the trust meter and these new projects. So we do have the funding that we need, and our FY 2027 budget should look to kind of further that initiative.
Any discussion on that?
One more thing, not to mention we have a team now, so
Yes,
the operational needs are definitely being met.
the most important piece, can't do it alone. Okay. I think that's also goal 3.
Yeah, and another thing is when we're talking about like the trust meter, where it has the 214 bill, it's the same thing as it being total transparent. When people are bringing something to us, the biggest concern is, it coming back at them in one way or another.
Retaliation.
Yeah, retaliation primarily. So we do want to make sure that it's not 100% transparent, or we're still allowed to protect.
Controls in place for
Correct.
for confidentiality and things like
Yeah.
that. Okay, that makes sense.
Absolutely, and I think one of the other things too, on that note, Commissioner Takinko, is that in the commission's powers for this new legislation, any type of retaliation after decisions pass can also be addressed by the commission, right? So we're trying to correct behavior. And so if someone were to experience some type of retaliation, whether or not they participated in the complaint process, I do think there should be some administrative penalties or fees that should be assessed on top of it that could streamline the commission's process going forward.
Great. You touched on goal 3, ensure recruitment of qualified individuals to fill new and existing critical roles. Are there any other staffing that we are pending?
So currently in this year, I kind of held it at just the 4 for now. But as I was talking with the team, this is kind of the calm before the storm. Once this new legislation is introduced, and our goal is to introduce within this term, because we understand that next year is an election year. So making sure that transparency is at the forefront of this, being able to garner more support, I think is going to be, in the best interest of the community, for the senators. And so we don't have any new positions that I'm looking to fill at the moment. However, understanding how big of the work we'll start to see because of these changes, then I can bring to the commission at the appropriate time.
Okay, that makes sense. But good job in filling the existing roles and getting a fully fledged team on board. And the next goal is one that's very critical for me and one that I think I've been harping on since we've met, and that's filling vacant seats on the commission.
So thank you, Madam Chair. And absolutely, like I said, when I came on board, it was an interesting time. 2 commissioners were terming out. There was no staff, so we were definitely on a rebuild. On this, I'm happy to report that we have a commissioner that was approved by the governor's office and has now been sent to the legislature for confirmation hearing. That is Attorney Genevieve Rapadas. So it's very exciting to have someone from the legal realm sitting on the commission. We also have 2 additional candidates that have expressed interest, and so they're now being vetted at the governor's office, and I'll provide more updates as that happens. With the 2 additional, along with the one at the legislature at the moment, that should bring us to a complete board.
Great. Good work on that. The next, go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say, but we also have to be proactive because there are one leaving us next year, Christmas last year.
Is it Greg? And you too?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Oh,
so,
wow, so we lose 2 a year from this point on?
yes, so we just have to make sure we're way ahead of it.
Right, and I think the timing of the new legislation would also help in that process.
Okay.
So because of the current process of having the the governor's office is going to get approved. I think once this legislation is also passed, whatever amendments have gone through it, it would assist us in how that process would be faster. It could be from different sources. So.
Okay, I agree, and you know, this one is absolutely critical for us, because I mean, as you've seen, when we don't have a quorum, then we can't make timely decisions, and so that just ties our hands. So I think filling these vacancies, at least you'll have 7 for a good 6 months, right? And then we'll start working on, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and finding, so it's like it's a turnover, and it's not another 3 months of not having somebody in the seat, or it's been almost 6 months or so, but we haven't had somebody in the seats.
Right.
So it hurts us.
Okay, thank you. Continuity of ethics and government program workshops, government of Guam employees. That's your next.
Yeah, so this goal was to make sure that none of the trainings that were available online were disrupted. The trainings in person were disrupted, but now that I have a team here, we've been hammering down a schedule for instructors and in-person trainings. So next year, 2026, would actually be the time when a big bulk of the government employees expire. Right? Our ethics and government training program only lasts for 4 years. And I believe the team, the previous team, had done a big bulk of the community in 2022. So understanding that, we're trying to make sure that the online training is always available, up and running from the website. And then Kristen and our team here is hard at work making sure that we have a schedule each month for in-person. We are also looking at addressing this big influx of expired certificates and trainings through maybe a first ethics conference here on the island, a Trust in Guam conference. So we are looking to try and make sure that we can accomplish a big bulk of people in one go.
And then continuity of community accessibility and engagement.
Okay, so this was, again, even when, in the past 6 months, I think 3 of those months I was alone in the office, I wanted to make sure that the community had someone to talk to, had some guidance and some advice, and so we ensured that even when we transitioned to new management, we participated in all the outreaches that we've been invited to, whether it's a close-up annual summit or high school career days, University of Guam presentations, even with a small team, to still be accessible, to make sure that trust was our main goal in that.
And this example that you have here, ethics media union.
Sorry, I believe that was a link. I'll share the link with the commissioners.
I think that summarizes your 6-month goal.
Madam Chair, I just wanted
to make another comment. So from the original presentation to the board on the strategic plan, in terms of timeline, the one thing that is lagging at the moment is the new legislation.
Yeah.
I was hoping to have legislation in at least by December, but because of the intricacies that legal counsel has brought up, we now pushed that back to January. So we moved that into the next quarter.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, right? Okay. So, but at least it's on track, and that you've already taken those first steps to getting us there. Yeah.
And I just want to make it known that for somebody walking in the door with no staff, equipment that was not working well, etc., a board that was basically half gone, you've just done an amazing job to get there, to get us where we are today, 6 months later. That's pretty surprising. So great job.
Yeah, I definitely want to also commend your resilience and sticking through it. I mean, we've had a lot of calls and discussions around, especially when you first started. So it was a very challenging time those first couple of months, but it's really great to see how you progressed to now, and that you have actually made a lot of progress. You've actually made progress on every single one of those goals. So that's a testament to you.
Thank you. I tell myself I haven't done anything. It's so frustrating.
We'll measure that, right?
Yeah,
You've
exactly.
set the goals for yourself, so now these are very measurable and specific. So if they don't happen, you go. We'll be breathing down your neck.
Perfect, perfect.
All right, so those were all of the goals that we had identified on there. The rest of these, section 2 and section 3, as I mentioned, which are these are the Likert evaluations where we're going to be scoring you based on each of these different criteria. So the board members or our commissioners will complete this, and then section 3, development needs, which are what are the ED's major strengths that should be maintained and what should be the areas for the ED's personal development for the coming year. So those are the ones that we are going to be completing separately, and then we will submit that to you. Would you say by the end of this month would be a good?
Sure.
That's fine.
I'd like to say to the end of the first week of January.
First week of January.
Because holidays.
Do the holidays.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, holidays is gonna pile
Sure.
up and
Okay.
let's just give ourselves a little bit of grace.
Okay, sure. So a month, I would say, right, which would give us sufficient time before our next board meeting,
Correct.
right? So by January 15th, then?
Yeah, I think that's probably better.
Okay.
And Madam Chair, I did keep the same format. That way, when it comes time for the year, it'll still be pretty consistent. So understanding that there may be some not applicables within these because it is pretty detailed. So the commissioners can, at their own discretion, if it's not applicable or you have nothing to say on it, that's perfectly fine. Understanding it's only been 6 months.
Understood. Yes, right. Work in progress. Right? Okay. All right, let's move on to the next order of business, which is resolution number 2026-001, reinstating the training fee for the ethics in government program.
So, thank you, Madam Chair. So my request to the commission is, I believe in the past couple of years, you have waived the training fee for government officials or different agencies because there was sufficient resources for the operation. I'm asking the board, well, technically the last waiver ended on October 1. So once we entered into fiscal year 2026, the fee has been reestablished. But just to solidify that, I wanted to petition to this board to reinstate that fee for a couple of reasons. One of the things is the feedback that we're getting on the training is it needs to be enhanced. They need more specific situations. There's a lot more things that have happened since the initial training. And so the general overview of the code of ethics versus more specialized trainings is what these fees would fund. If you'll notice back in the evaluation, there's 3 different modules that we're looking at in our training fees. And I think those are very important for us to fund. And so it becomes a self-sustaining system if our fees are sufficient in enhancing the training, which only goes back to helping the community. So we propose, and we're working with our vendor at the moment, 3 modules: the Guam Code of Ethics, the how ethics plays in with culture, and then module 3 is the role of the Ethics Commission. So being able to break it out into these 3 modules would be a great news source and updating our overall training. As opposed to the overall view at the moment, which I believe is a little over an hour online. We reviewed the Hawaii Ethics Commission. They do it in 30 minutes, and they have a more comprehensive law. So there's ways for us to enhance and streamline that. Of course, it comes at a cost, so that is why I'm bringing to the board today to reinstate that fee. It is nominal compared to other required mandatory trainings, like the procurement training for government of Guam. I believe, Vanessa, do you remember the price for the procurement?
I think it was 280.
About $280 per person. So our fee is $80, and whether or not that's a good amount, it is something for us to measure in this coming year, and then use that funding to enhance trainings. But it would also help pay for our instructors for the ethics retreats and the focus groups. So it just makes us a little more versatile. And it'll also bring us back in line to being an independent and autonomous agency. We're technically semi-autonomous because we can generate our own revenues through this avenue, but then we also still rely on the general fund. So this would help, make us a little more independent.
I'm not opposed to reinstating the fee. Is there any discussion around that?
I'm all for reinstating the fee. Part of it's because we want to be independent and self-sustaining if possible, which we can.
I agree, yeah, and the fee is it's good that we have some comparison to other agencies and other training requirements, so.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's other training that's being done right now that's, whether it's mandatory or not, but we're paying upwards of thousands of dollars for individual.
Okay, so no opposition from myself. We need to put it to a vote, right? Okay, so I guess all in favor of
Can I get a motion?
Oh, sorry, may I get a motion to reinstate the training fee for the Ethics in Government Program mandated by Title IV, Guam Code Annotated, Chapter 15?
A motion to reinstate the fee.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? All right, and no discussion? Okay, so the motion to reinstate the training fee for our government, ethics in government program is passed. All right, that was our last order of new business, it looks like. Are there any announcements?
Just one, just a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all the commissioners, and thank you for your continued time and support, but also to the community. So, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you. Echo that. Merry Christmas. Happy Holidays.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody.
A motion to adjourn the meeting.
Sure. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting
I just did.
at
Second.
1:18? Second, okay. All right. Meeting adjourned at 1:18 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Good to see you all.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Welcome home.
Chris.
Thank you.
Take care.
We didn't see you though.